Could the Traitor Imperial Guard Codex possibly be on the way? Let's find out! I'm Andrew from ATC Studio, and today I'm going to be telling you why there could be a chance of a Traitor Astra Militarum Codex from coming soon. So, it was well noted that in the new 9th edition point changes in the whole booklet, which did include all the Forge World armies, there is no Renegades and Heretics, which most likely mean they are discontinued. So, which was basically a Forge World army that are Renegades and Heretics, so a tiny bit of Chaos Cult sort of in there, but it's mainly Renegade, Imperial Guard, Rogues and Rogue Psychers, and it has some quite cool models, although I think 1 or 2 years back they did stop the Forge Well range and you could only really do it from conversions. They still kept the official rules, but now that they've not been updated, this probably just isn't just a mistake concerning that they did stop the range 1 or 2 years back. So it's quite likely that they have stopped Renegades and Heretics, who they were a small played army but nothing really big. And of course there was the small bit of plastic Traitor Guard in the Blackstone Fortress, but then again they have stopped the Blackstone Fortress from getting any new releases. It's going to get discontinued after the Zotes box, which I think has just come out. So what this means is there's effectively no rules for Traitor Imperial Guard. There were small rules, even though nothing too big and in plastic proper range, but now there's none at all, and I think there wouldn't really be any reason for them to stop Renegades and Heretics, apart from unless they want to put something else in instead, which is why it's very likely that there could be a Renegade Imperial Guard in Codex in the making. Especially considering in 8th edition there were a couple of Codex releases, Thousand Suns and Death Guard, and especially concerning that the main focus of Imperium armies has really been Marines, so dropping a new Codex actually same with Chaos as well, so Imperium Chaos, so dropping a new Codex that's Imperial Guard would really, Renegade Imperial Guard would really add to the mix and make it more interesting, and so it would certainly be a viable option, and I think it would certainly be quite a popular army. I could certainly see maybe a Loyalist Guard versus Traitor Guard box. That would be quite cool. They could incorporate some lore into it, and of course it's usually known as Renegades and Heretics with Lost and Damned, which is the whole group of not just Traitor Imperial Guard, but also mutants, rogue psychers, and chaos cults, who could of course get a full range. And it would be quite cool with the lore. They could talk about how a chaos cult is built up, make us have a lore around it that really gets us to know what living in the Imperium in the 41st millennia is actually like, and why a cult ends up being formed, and how some of the Guardians are being traitor, and then the subsequent civil war, which could of course be some very interesting lore and something they could quite easily introduce this codex with. And furthermore, it wouldn't be too difficult to implement. I'm sure lots of people would buy it. I mean, I play a Death Guard army, and I think if there was like a small start collecting box that had, well, I don't know, 45 quid, bit of Traitor Guards, I would probably buy it. Quite nice to include with another Chaos army, or you could simply start an army of that all by itself, and can be really cool for some sorts of narrative play. Furthermore, of course, the Games Workshop, they wouldn't necessarily have to release a full range, as lots of the flyers and vehicles can just be same as Loyalist Guard. Like the Valkyries, I don't see why they would be mutated anyway, so you'd only really need to put, I don't know, Ogrins, Beastmen and Guardsmen, new plastic molds, but again with the molds, they can probably use the molds from Blackstone Fortress stuff for some of them. So it's not too difficult for them to put a new range, and of course 8th edition came with 2 new codexes, with Death Guard with the Plague Wars and Thousand Suns with the Terran Crusade and the Battle on Luna. So it would probably make sense for there to be some new codex of some description in 9th edition, and I think this was really fitting because it's currently a big space in the lore that doesn't really have any sort of big actual rules for. So it was suddenly something quite interesting, and considering they stopped the Renegades and Heretics range, it could be because that this is in the making, and there's no reason why they wouldn't. It's not like it would sell badly. It'd probably sell really, really well. And I think it is nice that we get new ranges from time to time, and most of the editions have had some new codexes. And thinking about it, the Imperium codex, the Imperium's almost complete, with almost all the Imperial armies have codexes, apart from maybe like the Arbites. But Chaos still has quite a way to go, of course, with lots of the Traitor leaders could get their own codex, Fallen. This is probably one of the biggest ones where a new codex would certainly be really cool, and I think could hopefully be in the making. And the fact is, there isn't really any other reason for them to stop the Renegades and Heretics range. Even if, yes, there's a reason they might want to stop the range. If it's like selling badly, they'll just say stop the range, but they'll say you can still play it with conversions, but to not update the rules, which probably doesn't take long, just one person in Games Workshop sitting there for a day, it's probably quite weird. And there's certainly an exterior reason, which is probably that they've got a proper army in the making, a proper codex, and of course that you probably still be allowed to use the Renegade and Heretic models for that. So I'm sure that's quite an interesting topic. Tell me what you think in the comments below. And one other thing, I don't know if you quite enjoyed this video. If you did, I might make this into a series, talk about how other factions could also get their new codexes. I'm sure, because I can think of loads of different factions that might be interesting. Arbites, Red Traders, Yellowpox Infected, Dark Mechanicum, the Traitor Legions, the Exodites, and maybe other minor Xenos races. And the list really does go on. So I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, and share it if you really enjoyed it. But thanks for watching, and for now, bye.